welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced as all things should be. My name is Infinity Bro Isaac. I'm one of the 6 Infinity Bros of our rotating cast, and I'm actually joined by a very special guest today. It is Richard Nebens of The Direct. Richard, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me, and this is going to be a really fun show. I'm glad we finally got this going.
Yes. You can hear a little bit about the history of this episode on the Patreon version. You guys can check that out at patreon.com and the Infinity Bros, and you can check out theinfinitybros.com to check out all of our links and follow all our stuff. Infinity Bro Robbie is streaming consistently on TikTok Live and has grown our Discord from I think we had less than 100 to over 200 just in the past 2 months. And almost all of those people are totally into Magic the Gathering. So if you're into Magic the Gathering, come on into the Discord. We've got a lot of people talking about that right now, which is super awesome. So, but anyways, yeah, there's kind of a little history about how this episode came to be. So make sure you check out the Patreon to find out a little bit more of that. But Richard, again, wanted to thank you so much for coming on to the Infinity Bros podcast. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about your position at The Direct and what you do there?
Yeah, so I am the senior writer and assistant editor at thedirect.com. It's been an incredible ride there. I also do social media there because I absolutely don't do enough there already. But but no, it's a fantastic job. I absolutely love the team. We at The Direct, you've probably seen us on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you get your comic book movie news and everything. We cover Marvel, DC, Star Wars. We're actually branching out into a lot of general movie stuff these days too. We've covered Mission Impossible. We've got an interview with the director of Haunted Mansion up on the website. Just check that out at thedirect.com. Working on a lot of Barbenheimer stuff. And yeah, I have a ton of fun with this. This is my full-time job. And I just absolutely love it, being in this whole movie space, reviewing movies, talking about movies. I love it. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah. And one of your biggest, like you were saying on the Patreon episode, kind of interests is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I would say that we have in common as the Infinity Bros. So really excited to chat with you about that. And to go back a little bit, one of the first things that we connected over was you were like, hey, kind of put out a call out on social media, like, Deadpool 3 is coming out, because that was when we got the Wolverine Hugh Jackman suit reveal, and you're like, hey, I want to talk about this. So anybody hit me up. I want to talk about this. So that's when it all kind of started, and we're definitely going to get into that a little bit. But I do have a very special segment that I did not prepare you for called the Infinity Gauntlet.
Are you a heel or a baby face? If you could make any flavored Cheez-It, what would it be? Is it pronounced Grogu or Groku? If Keanu Reeves isn't in the movie, can it be star-studded? It's time for the Infinity Gauntlet, here on the Infinity Bros podcast.
Okay. I like where this is heading.
Yeah, so in our Infinity Gauntlet, our special guest gets to answer a question from each Infinity Bro. And, we'll see based on your responses if you're able to make it through the gauntlet. And
all right.
We always tell people that, if they don't make it through the gauntlet, we just, cut the episode off right there. We're like, all right, well, sorry, we'll try again next time. We haven't had anybody that, completely failed the Infinity Gauntlet yet. So I'm not expecting you to be the first one, but just wanted to give you a little bit of reassurance there that, it's not as scary as it sounds. Okay.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right. Here we go. So this first question, this is from Infinity Bro Robbie. You have to restart the MCU. Who, besides Captain America and Iron Man, do you start the MCU with?
Oh, you know what? I've thought about this actually before. Given everything, assuming that Marvel has the rights to everybody, because that's a tough subject. Yeah, obviously we've got the X-Men and Fantastic Four now, but we didn't when everything started. I would have to go with Spider-Man. I know that he's young and that he can grow across the MCU. I just think Spider-Man is he's on the Mount Rushmore of most famous comic book movie characters. We remember all the hype that came when he was about to come into Civil War. That first shot of him holding Captain America's shield was one of the greatest moments in MCU trailer history.
Right.
And Tom Holland obviously did a great job with his role in the MCU. I wouldn't change that for a second if we could. But if we had to go back, I would say Spider-Man. You can lead up. You can also lead up into the Civil War stuff too. You don't have to start it directly into Civil War, because that was a huge moment from the comics. Even not being as much of a comic expert, I know Spidey revealing himself to the public was a huge moment in that legacy.
Yep. And Civil War is a lot of people are not crazy about the comic event. It's like one of my favorite comic events, because that's like what got me into comics. And and Spider-Man's my guy. So that reveal is just, it's so like impactful in that comic storyline. So I think that would be sweet if they put some emphasis on that through Civil War. That would have been cool for sure. All right. That was a good one. All right. Next one. Here we go. Right. This is from Infinity Bro Max. He says, give the perfect Justice League casting from an alternate universe. So you get to pick anybody you want for any role. Doesn't matter if they've already been casted or, whatever. Perfect Justice League cast for you.
Perfect Justice League cast. Wow. That is incredibly tough. Well, you know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest. Superman, I'd actually go with Henry Cavill, because I think of all the crap that went on with the recent DCEU, Henry Cavill for me was actually one of the big bright spots. I thought he did a really good job with his portrayal of Superman. I thought he brought like the extraterrestrial side of it good. He brought the farm boy Kansas side of it really good, and I really enjoyed what he did with it. And I also really respect that he put in the work physically to to beef up for the role and didn't want to do CGI for all that.
Oh yeah, for real.
Let's see, Batman. Who would I cast as Batman? That is a great question. Actually, one that personally I really want to see play Batman, Jensen Ackles. He's the guy that I really want to see take on, like, even if he does like an older Batman now in the new DCU. I've been rewatching like Supernatural on TV, and him as Dean is fantastic. And I think he would do a really good job as Batman. For other characters, I'm going to throw out a really random one for the Flash. Tom Holland. I think he could. Okay. I think he could be a really fun version of the Flash. I mean, especially after like what we saw from Tom Holland as Spider-Man was fantastic, and I think you could bring that same vibe a little bit to the Flash. And this is all off the top of my head. I actually haven't really thought about this at all.
That's what these Infinity Gauntlet questions are good for. Just getting the juices flowing, like flying from the seat of your pants. So
for sure, yeah. And like I've thought about it in terms of like MCU people who I would cast like from the MCU in DC. But never the other way around. Wonder Woman. Here's one that I would actually go for. Just one that I was just thinking about. Adrienne Palicki, because she had done that Wonder Woman pilot a long time ago that never aired
with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, with Pedro Pascal. Ironically enough, just saw
that was I think that actually came out semi recently within the past like 6 months. I don't know if it's on YouTube or where. Like you can watch
something like that. Yeah. Yeah, just watched a little bit of him in 1984 the other day.
But I watched a little bit of it and I was like, dang, this is like not bad for what was it, like 2011 or something?
Yeah, it might have been earlier than that. But no, I think I'd go her as my Wonder Woman. Let's see. I've done the Flash, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. Aquaman, ooh, that's a toughie. Aquaman, I would probably go... my first thought would be Chris Hemsworth, but I'm actually gonna take a different route on that. I'm gonna say Liam Hemsworth. I think I think he could be an interesting choice for that, just because he's got kind of a similar vibe to Chris, obviously.
Right.
But I think he could be good in that like major superhero role, especially after what he did in the Hunger Games stuff.
Yeah.
And then
I can see that.
We need a Cyborg and a Green Lantern. Those are really, really tough.
Those are tough roles, yeah.
Yeah, those are really tough roles to cast. Any thoughts on what you would do for that?
Cyborg or Green Lantern?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, honestly, I mean, one that I think was fan casted for a long time and now is coming to real life is Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern.
Yeah.
James Gunn announced that he is going to be Green Lantern in, I think it's Superman Legacy.
Yeah, he's gonna be the Guy Gardner version. Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like, I don't know who I would want more. as a Green
Yeah.
Lantern, actually. Not just like thinking about that, like, and I know he had been fan casted as Green Lantern for a long time, so I'm
for sure.
fine with that. Honestly, I'm excited about that.
Another one I'll throw out. What about Chris Pine? Chris Pine, I think he could pull off a good
perfect Hal Jordan.
He could be a great Hal Jordan.
He would be perfect Hal Jordan for sure. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like his Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek movies is basically Hal Jordan, like how I would imagine Hal Jordan would be played. But that's like, for real.
Yeah, for sure.
He would be a great casting. Chris Pine's just great in everything, though. Like,
yeah, Chris Pine's awesome.
You can't miscast Chris Pine, I don't think.
No, exactly.
And then Cyborg.
Cyborg. Oh man, that one is again incredibly tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna take a weird one. I don't know how well would fit. What about Michael B. Jordan? How would we feel about a Michael B. Jordan?
I feel like he's a good enough actor to pretty much pull off anything.
I agree. That's what I was thinking.
I don't think he would do badly for sure. I think he would do solid.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there's better options for Cyborg, but I don't think he would be bad by any means necessary.
No, yeah, he would be solid. Like, yeah, he's another guy that's like, you know, he's just pretty much good in everything that he's in. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's throw him in there. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, pretty solid. That's a pretty solid lineup. Nice work. Work. Okay.
If that's the toughest question that I'm going to get, like, I think I'll be okay. But that was a toughie.
Yeah, that one was one you had to think a little bit here. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. This is from Infinity Bro Mark. He is kind of our spicy out there our character. So bear with me here. Here we go. It's the future, and you're in space looking for a lost vessel. You find it only to discover no communications. You dock the ship, enter it with a team of 5. You find one survivor who talks about a creature that killed the crew. You find a security panel and see that it's Grimace terrorizing the ship, like Grimace from McDonald's.
God.
What does the Grimace do to kill host its victims?
Wow.
And how do you and the crew kill it, if at all?
I think Grimace would just drive you insane. I think there's no way Grimace is gonna like take out that many people without just driving them literally out of their damn minds. That's because you don't expect Grimace from McDonald's to be in outer space as this giant killing machine. And as for taking it out, you got to sneak attack it. There's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way that you can.
Grimace. You can't go toe to toe with him. Yeah.
No, it can't know you're coming. It's got to be some kind of a sneak attack.
That's a great answer. With that kind of question, that was a curveball right there. So there you go.
Oh yeah. No, and good for your guys. These questions are making me think.
All right. Got one more question from you, and this is from me. All right. Last question of the Infinity Gauntlet. If you were putting up, you were like the sponsor, the backer, you're putting up one superhero as a nominee for president. Ooh. What superhero are you backing to be the president of the United States?
Oh, one superhero. So we're talking DC, Marvel, anything.
Anything.
Yep. All right. Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I know it's going to be the easy choice. I got to go Steve Rogers. He is like, I mean, if we're talking president of the United States, there's nobody I think more patriotic in the history of comics than Captain America. I mean, right. I'd take either him or Sam Wilson. Either way, have him as a duo.
Captain America, I mean, that's like a shoe in for like, okay, this is just like good branding. Like you could do some just killer promotion with that. Oh, it would be great. I think also just like off the top of my head, Superman was one that was like, he's like like pure of heart, you know,
truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like he would also be a great choice, but you can't really go wrong with any of those guys. So
no, either the Captain Americas or Superman. Yeah,
it would be really interesting to see how a like true, honest person plays in today's like American politics. But,
God, you know, good luck to them.
Yeah, good luck. Exactly.
I don't care what side you're on. Good luck.
Exactly. But anyways, there you go. You passed the Infinity Gauntlet, so congratulations, Richard. You made it through, and we get to continue the episode. So I'd say you passed.
I survived.
With flying colors. Yeah, you survived exactly. Well, there you go. Thank you so much for answering those questions for us. It's always a blast to get to know our guests a little bit through the Infinity Gauntlet. So,
of course.
All right. Before we get going here, I did want to, and this is probably slightly news to you. I probably should have told you this beforehand, but we rate things on a very specific scale on the Infinity Bros podcast. Rating bumper here.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
So that's how we rate things in the Infinity Bros, representing the 6 Infinity Stones, So, and the 6 of us, 6 is like, kind of the number. We just don't triple it. It gets a little weird when we do that. But
as somebody who wrote the Infinity Stones into my wedding vows, I get it.
That's amazing. Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that later because I want to hear that. But anyways,
I gotta find him at some point again. But I know I remember my friends were really impressed because I got married like a few months after Infinity War came out, so it was very was topical. Phenomenal. But I was very proud of myself.
That's incredible. Yep, we'll definitely have to chat about that later. But anyways, first thing I wanted to chat about is so Secret Invasion just got done a couple weeks ago. If you guys want to check out our series finale, that is the episode 174 of the Infinity Bros podcast, you can go check that out. That's our finale review and kind of season recap. And we've been, reviewing weekly these episodes as well. So you guys can go check, listeners can go check those out on the Infinity Bros podcast. But I wanted to get kind of your thoughts on Secret Invasion. There's been a lot of stuff flying around on the internet about how it's terrible. It's the worst MCU project ever, blah, 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 blah. What did you think about Secret Invasion and, leading up to it? What was your hype level coming into it? And did it meet those expectations?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. I thought it had a chance to be one of the better MCU Disney Plus shows. I wrote a whole article on the Direct about why it could potentially be the best one yet. I wouldn't say it was the worst MCU Disney Plus show that we've gotten, but it definitely didn't live up to expectations for me. Because I think the biggest thing for me is they set up stuff in the show that could have been really, really good if they had gone more of the show with it. I mean, obviously spoilers, but the part at the end, where they were hunting Skrulls down left and right and not even really caring if there was a human or a Skrull, that's some terrifying stuff. Yeah. And I think that could have been a really good subplot point throughout the entire thing. Some of it felt a little bit predictable. Rhodey, obviously, I thought he was a Skrull since episode 2.
Oh yeah. We've been talking about him being a Skrull since the beginning of this podcast, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole thing with him, that his moments from some of the Infinity Saga stuff that aren't him anymore, it's it's definitely kind of a bummer. But I mean, there were parts of it that I really enjoyed. I don't think I hate it as much as other people do, but it definitely didn't exactly live up to the expectations of being a secret invasion show. This is one of the biggest events from the comics that we've had in the last 15, 20 years. So.
Right. And leading up to this, I mean, we've been we have this, we made it into a segment at one point called Scroll Watch, where we were because Mark, our guy, he's the guy who gave you the crazy alien grimace question. He's the one who's super conspiracy theories are floating around up there. He is we have been speculating about who's a Skrull and who's not in the MCU since we knew a Captain Marvel movie was coming out way back in the day. It's been floating around forever. And we even came up with a segment called Skrull Watch where we're I think this person's a Skrull, talking about why they could potentially be a Skrull, going back to Wong in She-Hulk. We were all in on Wong being a Skrull. Okay, he still could be at this point, but just little stuff like that. But anyways, we've been all in on Rhodey being a Skrull. And I think that was honestly... and it was probably our fault a little bit for building this up in our heads because that's kind of what we do. But man, Secret Invasion is a phenomenal comic event. And I'm a pretty casual comic reader. I've read a decent amount of the big Marvel events.
Mhm.
DC, I kind of here and there, like I read a little bit, of the big events and stuff like that. Secret Invasion is phenomenal, and man, we had so many cool ideas about how they could like implement this in the MCU, and it just didn't feel like they went big enough. Honestly,
No,
it
exactly.
it felt like they played it safe, and I don't know. Like to me, it was a little bit of a disappointment. So, and I said this on my review last episode, but I gave the show a 4.5 out of 6. And to me, anything above like a 3.5 is like rewatchable. Like I'll watch that like no problem. So 4.5,
Yeah.
it's still decent. I don't even think I have any Marvel like anything below a 3. Like I enjoy all of them, but 4.5, like it wasn't phenomenal. It was pretty good. It was solid. It was still well made, even though it didn't live up to my expectations of it. So what would you rate the whole series?
Yeah, for me on that scale, I'd actually say probably close to that. I'm thinking like a 4.5 or so.
Sure.
Because like obviously there are far better Disney Plus shows from the MCU for me. I mean like Miss Marvel, WandaVision come to mind. Loki's obviously fantastic. And that's the thing is, I like you said, I just don't think it went big enough. I think I think there are some things that are going to last in the MCU for a couple movies in. Like I'll be curious to see what happens in the Marvels. With Sam Jackson coming back, and if they do more of the Skrull stuff, but like some of the deaths that they did in Secret Invasion, like with obviously with Talos and Maria Hill, it kind of, I don't know if I want to say it felt like cheap or like that it didn't feel like it hit the right spot.
Right, they just didn't feel that impactful. I mean, the Maria Hill
and I love
one,
Talos.
Right, Maria Hill one kind of did in the moment, but then they just like didn't mention her again basically the rest of the show, and it was like, okay.
It felt like one that was supposed to like set the groundwork for how serious the series was going to be, and it never quite lived up to that.
I feel like they did such a good job at setting up all this stuff in the first like 3 episodes, and then they just like didn't follow anything up really well. So
exactly.
The final 2 episodes to me for sure were just disappointing, unfortunately.
I mean, of course, that ending fight was exactly what She-Hulk made fun of the MCU for.
That's what we meant to do. Like exactly, like word for word what you say, and setting up the big fight. And everything is like, wow,
yeah, exactly.
Like, she's so meta that she exactly predicted like probably 90% of the MCU Disney Plus show finales.
Yeah, right. And I know we're going to talk about Deadpool later, but I hope he makes fun of that. I hope they make fun of it and do it the right way, so that it doesn't, end up like this.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely going to be something to do with that for sure. So, I'd say pretty well aligned on that. So, leading up to that, though, one of our big things was, why didn't we get more important people as Skrulls? Like, I know we got that like kind of board or whatever that were like supposed to be important people, but like at the end, it would have made it so much more impactful if they and they make a point too of this bugged me a lot in the very like last 5 minutes of the show when they go down in the basement, like the warehouse, and they have all the humans that all the Skrulls have kind of like taken their identities. They pull back this dude's like shawl that's over him, and it's just a random dude,
right?
It's nobody important. I'm like, you totally could have had like an important person laying there, and it would have been like,
like somebody we hadn't seen in the show already.
This person's been a Skrull the whole time, and it was
that would have been the perfect spot for it.
It was a big nothing burger, it just is.
Exactly.
That was one thing that we were like, man, make another big important hero be a Skrull, because that's like the big thing in the comic version is Spider-Woman is the Skrull queen, and she's been a Skrull for who knows how long
time,
a long time, and then all of a sudden all of these heroes start popping up as Skrulls, and it's like, holy crap, like I don't know who to trust. And you just didn't get that same vibe in this. And don't get me wrong, I did appreciate kind of the like darker kind of like espionage tone of this show.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
But it could have been, I feel like it's just a missed opportunity. Could have been so much better than it was. So
one thing I will say is that I know the MCU is big on like the directors not like reading the comics and stuff and diving too deep into that. To an extent, I get that because they want to do their own thing, inspired by the comics, whatever. This one, I think, really could have helped out with the team reading through the comics and like trying to bring some of those moments.
When it comes down to that, and we've talked about this too, when it comes down to that, it's like, if you're a good enough writer, you should be able to read that and not copy it or, you know, whatever. Like, you should be able to adapt it well.
Yeah,
to the
separate
show.
yourself from it.
You know, like, I feel like that seems like a little bit of an excuse for
a little
the MCU. Like, oh, we don't want them to read that to get ideas or whatever. And it's like, well, that's what every like writer in the history of writing is done. They get inspiration from other sources, you know, like just how it works. But totally. It's just, it was a little bit of a bummer that it ended up that way. I agree. So, but you did mention The Marvels, which is coming November 10th, 2023.
Yes.
Hype level for that show. What would you rate that scale of 1 to 6 right now?
Oh, definitely at least a 5, if not a 5.5.
Okay.
I think I'm actually infinitely more excited for this one than I was for the first one. Like, Captain Marvel is a great character, and I think they're going to do a good job with her in the MCU. It just felt like they threw her in a little bit fast in the first movie.
It seemed like they definitely were trying to like shoehorn her into the MCU with her movie.
Because she's supposed to be like the most powerful character in the MCU, and they shoved her in right before Endgame and all that. And her stuff in Endgame was fine. I enjoyed it enough.
Right.
But I'm really looking forward to seeing, and especially because I think Brie Larson herself is going to give, I think, an even better performance this time around than she has in all of the rest of her MCU stuff. Because one thing I've heard is that she filmed her stuff for Endgame before she did Captain Marvel. So they're
interesting.
Yeah, I think I've heard that story. So they really like jumbled her around for the first little bit of her being in the MCU. And I think now that she has time to really sit with the character and really dive into it this time around, I think she's going to give a really good performance.
Right.
And for me personally, Iman Vellani is one of my new MVPs of the MCU. She's one of my absolute favorites.
Is a perfect casting. Like I will say, like, you seem like you're pretty high on Miss Marvel. That was not my favorite show. I still enjoyed it, but not my favorite Disney Plus show. They nailed it with that casting. Like, she's like the main reason I'm excited for this movie is see her interact with, you know, Monica Rambeau and Carol Danvers is going to be, it's going to be great. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, no, she might have a chance to be the MVP of this movie, honestly.
Right.
Like, I mean,
I'm with you there for sure.
Her casting as Miss Marvel, I put on the same level as like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, or like even Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Like, it is. I don't know if it's quite there, but it is very close. And especially for somebody who not only she's so young, she's like 20, 21 years old. This is her like debut in the acting world. I think Miss Marvel was really her first credit ever.
It's so funny because, like, I mean, with all the stories that we've heard about her, like, she's like the Marvel geek on set, and they like
the expert,
for like, you know, looking for little details and stuff like that. Like, she seems like her character of, you know, Kamala Khan is who she is. Like that.
Exactly.
Like,
she is like Kamala Khan
really
in real life.
Act that much. Even Vellani is just like the same person, basically.
And I absolutely love that. And that's partly why I put her so high on that casting ranking, because she really is just an MCU know-it-all. And I mean that in the best possible way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited for this movie. I think it's going to have a chance to be one of the better ones of Phase 4 and 5. I mean, obviously we've gotten, like, for all the crap, like I was saying on Twitter earlier, we've gotten a ton of crap for like the movies and shows we've gotten in Phase 4 and 5, but we've had some really good ones. I mean, you know, No Way Home, Guardians 3.
Yeah.
I think the Marvels has a chance to be, and obviously Black Panther Wakanda Forever too. I forgot to mention that one. I think the Marvels has a chance to get up there in terms of like being one of the better movies that we've gotten in the multiverse saga so far.
Yeah, I definitely think and seeing the, you know, couple of the trailers that we've seen out of it, definitely more excited for it now than I have been, you know, throughout Phase 4 and 5, seeing all the stuff that we've been getting. I definitely think my hype level is starting to climb up again. Honestly, to see, because of all of these Disney Plus shows and kind of their problems that we've seen throughout them, I'm just excited to get back to like big event Marvel movies again, honestly.
Agreed.
Like, and if they got to cut out a show or two a year to do more of these big event movies, I'm fine with that. I think they can. Secret Invasion could have been like what they did anyways in this show in Secret Invasion. They probably could have done all of that in a movie. Like, honestly,
absolutely,
it might have been a better movie than it was a show.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But anyways, yeah, it'll be fun to kind of get back to that. Like, all right, this is a big Marvel movie again, I feel like, they've kind of been like, obviously No Way Home was, like that was like the return to cinema Marvel movie from the whole COVID quarantine stuff. Like that was like it.
Like I gotta give Shang-Chi credit for doing what it did in the middle of COVID. And I think that was really the start of like bringing movies back and everything. But No Way Home just took it to a level that like I don't know if we'll ever see it again. No Way Home, like disclaimer, No Way Home's my top MCU movie ever.
I'm right there with you. It's my favorite too. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, Spider-Man's my favorite hero anyway, and that's my favorite Spider-Man movie. So
yes, love it. Me and you are gonna get along just fine.
I think so. Yeah, I'm liking this.
Love that. All right. So yeah. Anyways, Marvel's coming November 10th, 2023. That's going to be really awesome. The other big thing that dropped this week was the Loki season 2 trailer. Loki season 2 dropping October 6th, 2023. This is another thing that I was like, I don't know, like it's another Disney Plus show. Obviously, I think Loki is one of the better Disney Plus shows that we've gotten. So it had that kind of like redeeming factor in my hype of it anyways. But at the same time, with all of them, how they've been going, I was like, I don't know about it. But this trailer got me very, very excited for Loki season 2. What were your thoughts on the trailer?
I really liked it. I don't know about you. I got some major Spider-Verse vibes.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if I can't remember what they called it. It wasn't glitching, but the thing that when you jump in and out of universes and stuff. Yeah. I'm very curious to see how that plays out.
I know that's exactly what I thought when I saw it too. I was like, it looks like they're glitching from the Spider-Verse movies. It's I'm so excited about that. And I don't know, man, it got that like mysterious feeling that we got from Loki just in that 2-minute trailer. And to rewind a little bit, going back to Quantumania, which again was not our favorite, like our favorite movie is the Infinity Bros. I think we collectively, so we usually take all of our scores, average them for the official Infinity Bro rating. And I think it ended up being a 4.5. So it wasn't great, kind of about the same.
Probably close to what I'd do it to.
Right. Yeah. But that post-credit scene with Tom Hiddleston and
Owen Wilson,
sitting in the crowd for Jonathan Majors as Kang, our Victor Timely, in that post-credit scene. Wow, that post-credit scene got me almost more excited than the whole Ant-Man Quantumania movie. Like Tom Hiddleston in that like 30-second clip portrayed more emotion and fear than I feel like I saw in that whole Quantumania movie. Yeah, it was it's phenomenal.
I enjoyed Quantumania enough, but I remember I actually saw that one at one of the premieres in LA, not the world premiere, but at an early screening. Nice. And I remember the crowd went like nuts when we saw the Tom Hiddleston post credit scene. Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, and say what you will about like Jonathan Majors and all the personal stuff that he's got going on, but he was the reason why Ant-Man Quantumania worked, because he is a phenomenal actor, and he just knocked it out of the park with his performance.
Fingers crossed for the best for whatever this whole situation is.
And it doesn't, like, at this point, it's hard to say anything definitive because we obviously are on the outside looking, in at that situation, but like
totally.
For whatever is happening, like he's the guy. They have not backed off of that as of this point. And
not yet,
nor should they, in my opinion. Like I think until like stuff is proven beyond doubt that this guy is,
until the circumstances demanded, I think.
Right, exactly. I think, and because they've learned from experience. Like they went ahead and fired James Gunn like that the second people started talking on the internet about, past tweets, blah, 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 all that. And I think they're like, okay, let's just hold the phone a little bit. Let's just see how this plays out. But Jonathan Majors is a phenomenal actor, and I'm very excited to see him in Loki season 2. Like this is going to be, I think, out of all, if you're counting like Loki season 1 and Loki season 2 as like two different like shows and ranking it on the like Disney Plus scale, I feel like this season 2 could be a top 3 Disney Plus show. just
Yeah.
comparatively to all these other shows that we've been getting. So I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be phenomenal. That trailer, it got me hyped, man. That was another thing that I was like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. So
yeah, for me, Tom Hiddleston is still one of the MVPs of the MCU.
Yeah.
And Owen Wilson is quickly becoming one of my favorites. I mean, I love Owen Wilson anyways.
I remember when they announced that Owen Wilson was casted in Loki, and I was like, hey, I love the guy. I love the guy, but how the heck is he going to fit into the MCU? Like, I don't understand this, but he is hilarious. It works so well. I love his character.
Mobius.
It's great. I absolutely love that. So yeah, looking forward to that. October 6th, 2023. It's gonna be great. Okay, and the last thing that we want to definitely hit on is Deadpool 3, because that was, again, the thing that you were jazzed about that initially got us hooked up in the first place. So rewinding back, this is probably over a month ago now, right?
About a month ago.
So they've, obviously earlier this year, maybe in last year, Ryan Reynolds announced that Hugh Jackman's coming back to be Wolverine in Deadpool 3. Everybody's super hyped about that. Even if, and a lot of people were not super thrilled with Deadpool 2, me not included. I loved it, but there's a lot of hubbub on the internet about like how, it didn't really live up to Deadpool. But any of that notwithstanding, you got Hugh Jackman back for Deadpool 3. I mean, this movie's going to make a buttload of money. People are going to go watch this movie because Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine. And that is just, was that as big as the suit reveal to you? Like, where was that? And were you freaking out when that announcement happened with Ryan Reynolds?
Oh my God. I remember I actually wrote up the article that we did for the Direct when that thing, so it's like a little insight into our thing. Like sometimes we'll get normally assigned articles. We have like an hour or two to get them ready and everything. Sometimes we'll get like breaking articles and we have to put the first part out in like 10 minutes or 5 minutes or something. Wow. That one was a breaking 3 minutes to do. And I had no idea what was happening. I just got, Ryan Reynolds tweet in an assignment, get this out now. And then I realized, holy crap.
It's happening. Hugh Jackman
is coming back.
It's like that part in The Office where Michael like comes out of the office. Everybody's like running around to the fire. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was probably one of the most hyped moments I've ever had as an MCU fan. Because like anybody who knows me knows I'm a ginormous Deadpool fan. As I sit on a chair.
For those audio listeners, he's literally sitting in a Deadpool gaming chair right now. So
which is one of my prized possessions. And and like when I found out that Hugh Jackman was coming back as Wolverine, I thought this immediately rose to like the top of my hype list for the entire MCU. I think even above like Infinity War or Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. I think, they're, right in the same area, but Deadpool 3 is easily my most anticipated solo movie. And then when the suit came out, I had a feeling they were gonna find a way to do the classic suit, because that's what the MCU does. But just seeing it, it's funny. Part of me wishes they hadn't, shown it in full, let people wait to go to the theater to see that.
Right.
But I think we all knew it was coming also. They're going to have so many surprises in store for that movie. Mm-hmm. It's going to be ridiculous. I think if there's any R-rated movie that's going to make $1 billion in the next couple of years, I think Deadpool's got easily the best shot at it.
I definitely think that's definitely got a shot. Like the people are just going to be just hyped to see it. And people, I feel like there's a lot of Marvel fans out there who, maybe you were excited about the beginning of the MCU, but died out even before like Endgame. Just like, they were like, hey, it's a lot. Granted,
it is a lot. Yeah.
When you come across somebody who has only seen 1 or 2 MCU movies and you're like, oh man, like I want to watch all this stuff with you, but this is like 40 projects at this point that we gotta go through. Like it's getting a little like overwhelming. And somebody actually, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I love Guardians 3, but if you went to the theater without any MCU context, that movie would be so confusing.
Oh yeah,
because there's like Endgame, there's the first 2 Guardian movies, like so
Infinity
many different
War.
stories that are intertwined into this movie.
Yeah,
that just it would be a lot. And I think
you're at the point now in the MCU where like you need to have seen some of it,
right?
Like,
Yeah,
it's hard to just jump in.
Yeah, almost like if you even skipped a lot of those origin stories and just went to those like big event movies, like you could kind of glean some of the context from those big movies. But now
for the
at
most
this
part,
point, it's even, and I think that was a thing in Phase 4 too, because what they're trying to do is introduce all these new characters. And they ended up like going in so many different directions that the future of the MCU seems really broad to me at this point. And I know like Kevin Feige probably has a vision and he's going to wrap it all together for the next Avengers movies and all that good stuff. But with so many different characters and origin stories that we got in Phase 4, it just seems like, holy crap, we've got a lot of different threads that he's going to have to weave together somehow. And I don't know how he's going to do that at this point.
Yeah, like even just thinking about the Marvels coming up, which is the next movie. I mean, you need to have seen like Captain Marvel, maybe Endgame, definitely WandaVision and Miss Marvel, and maybe even Secret Invasion. So,
yeah. Oh man, it's getting a little overwhelming for those new people out there. So
but it's funny. I was just thinking too, just randomly off the top of my head, if there's anywhere to have Michael Pena's Luis recap of the MCU, it has to come in Deadpool 3. Actually, my buddy Liam from the Direct and comicbook.com, he had actually had an interview with Michael Pena, and I think they brought that up. Really? That it was like a thing. I don't know if it ever actually came to be, but if there's any place to put that in, it's got to be in Deadpool 3.
Deadpool 3 / like if they just did like little 5-minute recaps of like everything in the MCU, one shots on Disney Plus.
Bring back
like
the one shot.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? Just him recapping like a movie or even like a series of movies. Just like
absolutely.
What if he just recapped each phase of the MCU for us?
Like, oh god, I would watch the hell out of that.
Oh my gosh, that would be so good. All right.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige, I know you're listening to this podcast. There's your idea.
Feige.
Go ahead and make it happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something that I feel like was sadly missing from Quantumania. I agree. Luis recapping that's something that was just so unique and hilarious in those first 2 Ant-Man movies
sure.
That was a little sad that we didn't get that. But
absolutely.
Back to Deadpool 3. So we are getting this huge event. Hugh Jackman's coming back for it. We get this about a month ago suit reveal that Hugh Jackman, and we get, these are like legit set photos that like Ryan Reynolds is sharing. Like these aren't like leaks that, are going around. Like Ryan Reynolds straight up shared this on his social
Instagram.
Yeah. It's like, this is legit. Like this is happening. And definitely he's doing that to drive up hype, which is good. Like you should be doing that. But I think there is an element of what you were saying of like, I hope they do. I hope somebody said something about like the mask, and I'm like, I hope they don't show that at all until the movie. Like, I hope we get
me too.
The mask in the movie, and it's going to be amazing. But I hope we don't.
Moment.
Yeah. I hope we don't get that until the movie. No, like leaks, no anything like that, because that's going to be a really cool reveal.
Yeah.
But anyways, you said you were super hyped about that. Tell me more about the suit reveal.
Oh man, I mean, I think just the fact that Hugh Jackman finally gets to wear this suit. Like, I know one of the things I'm actually curious about to see is like what they actually do with the arms, because Hugh Jackman's actually been really vocal about his skin cancer thing.
Right.
And I'm sure that I have no doubt whatsoever that Marvel Studios is going to work with him on that and do whatever they have to do to keep him safe and as healthy as possible. Like I remember what they did with Sophia DiMartino for Loki when she was pregnant and she was breastfeeding. And during season 1, and they made her suit like accessible and stuff, so that was great. And I have no doubt that they'll accommodate Hugh Jackman however they can.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that we get this suit in the MCU after 20 years of Hugh Jackman doing like the kind of gritty, down to earth, what you would expect like a superhero suit to be, that was great. And Logan is obviously one of the greatest comic book movies ever. But I think the fact that we get something so different and so nuts that Hugh Jackman finally gets to do as Wolverine alongside Deadpool, I think it's just an opportunity that you can't avoid. if you're bringing Deadpool and Wolverine into the MCU. And like, even if this is only a 1 or 2 movie thing for Hugh Jackman, because that's all it's going to be.
Right.
Like, he's going to do this. He might do Secret Wars, and then I think he's going to hang up the claws for good.
Right.
But I just think there's no way that you can go into this with how meta Deadpool is as a character. The character that Deadpool is, this feels like something that would come straight out of a Deadpool comic. And from all the set photos we've seen, like the 20th Century Fox logo in sand on the beach, I think that's going to be perfect.
It's going to be hilarious.
It's like the rumors of Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra. I think they have a chance to get like as many of those old X-Men, like X-Men and Fantastic Four people from the old Fox movies.
Absolutely. And please
possible.
Do it. Get as many as. And we've been saying this for like a long time on our podcast too. Do it for Secret Wars too. Get everybody back. Get everybody.
Absolutely.
Why
they
not?
have to.
Why not?
Yeah,
even if it's for like a 30-second cameo in the movie. Do it.
I know they're trying to. I mean, at least just bring back the alive ones. Don't do what the Flash did.
So going back to Multiverse of Madness, if you can get John Krasinski as Reed Richards and you can get Sir Patrick Stewart back as Professor X, I don't think there's really anything that you can't do necessarily, because those were like two massive cameos in that movie. Even if the whole
they both had like 5 to 10 minutes of screen time.
It wasn't like they just like showed up for a second and were gone. You know, like that was
absolutely,
that was impressive. Even if the whole scene was, you know,
little thrown together.
But anyways, if they can do that, oh man, the things that they are going to be doing with Deadpool 3, and Secret Wars 2, it's going to be phenomenal. So you mentioned that 20th Century Fox thing. One idea that we've had on the Infinity podcast is, so Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe is a pretty it's one of the Deadpool's like more popular comic book storylines. We've thought it would be hilarious if Deadpool, to get into the MCU, has to go through like a Deadpool kills the Fox universe type of thing. And like, I don't know how that would all tie into getting into the MCU, but obviously he's going to be there. So
I just think
to play a part in that, and it's going to be meta. It's going to be breaking fourth walls. It's going to be hilarious. And I can't wait for it.
There's 2 things I think about it. I think there's no way they don't do some version of Deadpool Kills the Fox universe. I think that's what they're setting up. There's no way they don't do it. One idea that I personally had is I could see with them bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I could see Ryan Reynolds trying to pull Hugh Jackman into the MCU to prevent him from dying in Logan. Like he knows that that's what's coming in Logan. Right? Hilarious. Like how hilarious would that be? And that's what gets the TVA on their radar, gets them on the TVA's radar, because we know Owen Wilson's going to be in the movie. And I just think that would be so perfect as a side plot. It is just Wade trying to keep Wolverine from dying.
There's going to be some hilarious moments between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and Deadpool.
Yes,
I cannot wait for that. And Hugh Jackman has been. He shared a few things even before the suit reveal. He said that this is going to be a different version of Wolverine, which, you know, like, I mean, we've already been through all the multiverse stuff that they're, you know, doing in the MCU. So this is probably going to be another version of Wolverine. But if you look at like the set photos that we got and the X-Men 97 animated series suits, like, wow, I am shocked at how I want to say comic accurate, but that's not quite the term, because it's, you know,
how comic booky.
Comic booky that they were able to make this suit. Man,
it's amazing.
I'm just so hyped for it. I think it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, easily my top MCU movie. That I can't wait
going
for.
Back to, I don't even remember what Wolverine movie it was. I think it was the Wolverine, where they had that post-credit scene where they opened the case and it's the Wolverine mask, and gloves. For sure. Like, going back to that, like the fact that we've had like the inkling of an actual costume around for so long, and gosh, when was the Wolverine had to be like late 2000s, right? Was it that late? Man, I gotta look that up now.
Yeah, because Origins was, I think, 09 or 10, then I think the Wolverine.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Was 2013. Was 13.
Okay, so that's even earlier than I thought. But still, that's 10 years. We're in 2023 now. It's crazy. 10 years ago, we had a post-credit scene tease of
And I
Hugh
know in one of
Jackman's Wolverine suit.
one of the original trilogy movies, they joked around about doing spandex.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy that it's come full circle, and here we are having Hugh Jackman in a full Wolverine suit in Deadpool 3.
Amazing.
Just
and like I'm someone that I really, really love the first two movies. I like one better than two, but I really enjoyed both movies. And I think 3 has a chance to blow it out of the water.
absolutely, man. I'm totally with you. I think with all the running, moving parts that we've currently heard about, and hopefully some that we won't hear about until we see.
Hopefully,
yeah, I think this could be one of the best movies to date in the MCU. So it'll be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
Okay, last thing I wanted to touch on. So we've been talking about a little bit about the future of the MCU here. Number one thing that I want to know from you is, because of Secret Invasion, do you think, I mean, I feel like Secret Invasion definitely downplayed the amount of Skrulls that there are in the world. Like, I mean, they definitely said multiple times that there's like millions of Skrulls.
I think they said at least 1 million.
1 million. We didn't really see that many. So do you think the Skrulls still have a future in the MCU, or are we going full pivot to the multiverse for Secret Wars?
I would like to think that they have a future in the MCU, especially because of the way that they set up with the finale, that everybody's like hunting down the Skrulls now. I don't see that there's going to be any way that they can avoid that going forward. Right. I don't know where it would pop up. Maybe in the Marvels at some point with Captain Marvel coming back, and obviously her relationship with Talos and the Skrulls. But I think there's no way that they can just full on avoid it going forward. Right. Like, I really hope not, because that's a huge plot point I think they could do a lot with. But, fingers crossed.
Right. And just, man, it just seems like, I know we talked about like they're taking all these individual stories and they got to weave them together somehow. When you're building towards this massive multiverse event with Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty, how are you able to fit another big movie that has to do with the Skrulls? And I don't know. I really want to see it, because obviously we probably didn't get as much as we had hoped from Secret Invasion. But where does it fit at this point? And one of the things was Fantastic Four. Like, obviously the Skrulls and Super Skrull specifically has a pretty significant history with the Fantastic Four in the comics. So you got to imagine that Gaia probably will pop up when that. Fantastic Four is so far down the line at this point that
that's
I
like 2 years away now.
Yeah, it's far away, and castings have been coming and going, and who knows what the heck's going on with
Fantastic Four. When the cast drops, that's going to be the biggest. I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
Right, and we've gotten like so many speculative casts and people saying like, oh, they interviewed,
they're passing on this, and
they're passing on it, like all this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's been a crazy ride with that cast for sure. So
yeah, and the movie's already been confirmed for almost 3 years now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just felt like building up to Secret Invasion, we were going to see a bigger part for the Skrulls in the future of the MCU, and I don't see where it fits now with Secret Invasion with Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty coming up. Like, they got to start building to that at some point.
I hope so. We'll see.
I don't know. Be interesting to see. But just broad strokes, future of the MCU. We've had a lot of backlash on Phase 4 of the MCU. So what are you excited for? Obviously, Deadpool 3, the Marvels we've talked about. What else are you excited for? And like building towards Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty, what do you want to see kind of in the future of the MCU?
Well, I just hope that we just get some projects that are, what I really hope for is, I hope we just get a string of projects now that, like, I think Secret Invasion might have been one of the last ones that's really been affected by like all the COVID stuff originally, and like a lot of the stuff that we've been dealing with. I really hope, like, maybe starting with the Marvels, that we can kind of get a string of projects that people just kind of universally gravitate towards, because we've had, like I mentioned earlier, we've had some incredible entries in the MCU. No Way Home, Guardians 3, Black Panther. Miss Marvel was really great. WandaVision, who started off the whole multiverse saga. But I just hope the MCU can kind of get back on track with like giving the fans what they want, and like that, I mean, not necessarily giving the fans what they want, giving the fans something that they can all unite over,
right?
And like something fun, something that has stakes with drama and everything. Because I think eventually, once the dust all settles out, ironically enough, I think King Dynasty and Secret Wars are gonna be like those event movies that we all want them to be.
Right. Yeah.
And I think Deadpool's got a chance to really set that up. The Marvels has a chance to set that up really, really well. And obviously stuff like Fantastic Four also. And I hope these delays actually mean something good for these movies. Like, I mean, I know it sucks right now because of all the writer strike and the actor strike and everything.
Right.
But I hope this gives them a chance to really fine tune everything and get the story like nailed down and focused in on one goal and like one streamlined thing. I know it's a lot to deal with. I know it's a lot of stories all converging together and everything. But I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that this is going to be that this is all going to turn out good in the next couple of years.
I agree. And we all are with you at the Infinity Bros. We've been crossing our fingers for a long time now. But I mean, hey, I think it's been really interesting to see the culture shift from phase 1, where we're getting these really high quality superhero movies that were just kickstarting the superhero craze, honestly, that we have seen in the past 15 years or whatever. I mean, starting with Iron Man, because I mean, yeah, sure, Iron Man has definitely been a very important character in the comics, but he wasn't like on the, he wasn't on the kid's lunchbox that doesn't like superheroes. The common everyday kid was not like super into Iron Man, but they're into Spider-Man. Even if the kid didn't like superheroes, they knew who Spider-Man was, they knew who Batman was, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Iron Man was made a household name by Robert Downey Jr. and Marvel in the MCU. Like it's crazy how powerful, the start of the MCU was, just packed a huge punch. And now we're seeing so many people come in, and, everybody on the internet now is like a Marvel, or at least a kind of general fan of these superhero movies. And it's crazy to see how the culture has shifted to like, man, now everybody's kind of on the opposite side of things. And like, oh man, we're looking for this content that like, is seems to be lacking. But at the same time, I mean, us comic book / film nerds that are into Marvel stuff, like, I mean, all of us are still in shock and awe that we're getting characters like Shang-Chi, on the big screen. Like, who would have thought in 2008 that we'd get a Shang-Chi movie ever? Yeah. Nobody thought that. Just, it's phenomenal that we're even introducing these characters into the MCU. And I think generally overall, Marvel has done a pretty good job of all of that through phase 4, even with the slight, the
slight of it,
dip in quality, maybe. But yeah, again, like we talked about, Iman Vellani casting, phenomenal. Like, if they keep casting these actresses that can carry the MCU for decades, I think they're going to be just fine.
I'll say this, even with all the problems that the MCU has had, their casting game is still as good as ever.
Casting game is still phenomenal. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Nailed it with that one. Richard, thank you so much for coming on with me today. It's been a blast talking all things MCU with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a blast. I'm glad we finally got to do this. And I'll talk. You can find me on Twitter talking MCU all the time until I die. So
yeah, and actually, I was just going to mention that. So where can we find you on social media and stuff like that?
Yeah, so you can find me mostly on X / Twitter, whatever it's going to end up being, at Richard Nebens, Nebens. I'm also the same one on Instagram, TikTok. I also have a Threads account that I'm not as active on, but I'm hoping to be more soon. And you can find me writing all the time at the direct.com for MCU, DC, Star Wars, whatever I can get my hands on. And yeah, you can find me podcast with other people and on the direct.com and do my thing.
Awesome. And we will also have some links in the show notes for you guys to go follow Richard and see what he's up to at the Direct. So again, man, thank you so much. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
And thank you, Infinity Bros Universe, wherever you're listening, however you're listening. Thank you so much for making us a part of your podcasting experience. We love you 3000, and we'll have to catch you next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at The Infinity Bros. You can also check out our website at theinfinitybros.com for links, reviews, and sweet merch. Feel free to send us listener feedback via social media or email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.